A pleasant afternoon, Section A. How are you today? So, I hope and pray that everybody is doing good. For today's session, we will be discussing the first topic for this term. So, it's all about food sanitation. All right. So, a quick reminder again. I want you to finish watching this video because tomorrow I'll be giving a short quiz, no, to each and every one. Right? So I want you to prepare also your pen and also your notes, no, para makapag-jot down kayo some important informations that is not included on our PowerPoint presentation. All right? So today is March 13, 2025. Sorry for the date. Okay? So our learning objectives is at the end of the session, the students must be able to identify the types of bacteria. And number two, let's understand foodborne illness, right? So let's start with the introduction. So it says here that knowledge in microbiology will help you understand how and why disease causing bacteria grow and spread so that you are able to prevent foodborne diseases. So, foodborne illnesses and food spoilage are preventable when conditions that allow microorganisms to survive and multiply are eliminated. So, I do believe, class, that everybody will agree with me that food sanitation is very essential, no, in food preparation, especially if you are aspiring to be a chef or culinarian someday. It is one of the top priority to ensure the safety and the security of the food that we will be deliver to our guest at the end of the day. So regardless also if you are aspiring to be a food attendant or a food server, so I guess food sanitation is also one of the requirement for you, no, in on how you will carry bar trays, no, how you will set up plates and glasses, no, na hindi contaminated or nalinisan ba 'to ng maayos. So it is connected, I guess, with what we will discussing this afternoon. All right. So we all know that bacteria, no, so they are not usually visible to the human eye. Tama ba? Because most of the foodborne illnesses are coming from the bacteria itself. So those are the organisms, class, that we can say they are harmless, but in the positive way, meron din palang mga microorganism or bacteria that is beneficial. So later on, i-discuss natin yon. So kung merong harmless, may beneficial, meron ding very dangerous kind of bacteria that is very delicate, no, for the human being. So nangyayari to yung growth ng bacteria or ba't nagkakaroon ng bacteria during our food preparation is simply because of the different phases, no, na nangyayari during food production, no, during the food preparation, no, and during the food preparation procedures. So those microorganisms can be transmitted from food, no? So, syempre, kung yung food is may bacteria na nga, na-transfer na doon, so technically, matatransfer din siya doon sa tao or sa customer. Okay? So, we need to understand the existence, no, ng mga bacteria na na-mention natin kanina and paano ba natin malalesen yung ganong klase ng situation during during the food preparation time eh. Kasi usually, sabi ko nga kanina, sa food production nangyayari lagi, no? Yung encounter natin diyan sa foodborne illnesses causes by bacteria. Okay, so there are kinds of bacteria, class, no? Nakikita nyo ngayon sa screen. We have beneficial bacteria, meron ding undesirable bacteria, and meron ding tinatawag na disease-causing bacteria or the pathogens. So let's define. So again, bacteria bacteria, these are not usually visible to the human eye, tama? And bacteria also are almost everywhere. So, saan ba, Ma'am Steph, yung everywhere na yan? So, we can check that pwede in the air, may bacteria, meron ding sa skin ng tao, meron ding coming from our hair, sa nose, sa mouth, and even our intestinal tract, no? Or even sa mismong pagkain na, no? Meron na rin agad bakterya. Pwede mangyari yon. Or sometimes, ang bakterya ay pwedeng makita sa mga kitchen equipment. 'Di ba? Ano pa? Pwede rin siya makita through garden soil or pwede din siyang maging posible sa water. So, bacteria is almost everywhere. So, what is beneficial bacteria? So when we say beneficial bacteria, these bacteria are helpful to us. Sabi ko nga kanina sa introduction, hindi lahat po klase ng bacteria ay harmless or dangerous. No? Some of them, they are beneficial naman. So, beneficial bacteria also required in the production of certain foods. So, ito yung naitutulong ng klase ng bacteria nito, including what? Ano bang mga particular food or items na kailangan ng presence ng tinatawag na beneficial bacteria? So, examples natin are yogurt, no? Sa paggawa ng yogurt, ng sour cream, ng cheese, vinegar, and sausages. So, ito yung pwede ko sa inyo mabigay na example because they can enhance the flavor of the following items I mentioned a while ago. So those bacteria are also used in the production of certain medicines and drugs as well. So wag natin itatag class na lahat ng bacteria is harmless because meron din tayong tinatawag as one of kind which is beneficial. Okay? Wala tayong sample term when we say beneficial bacteria, but this is the generic term that we can use. And another kind is what we call undesirable bacteria. So the undesirable bacteria, these are the bacteria that are responsible for food spoilage naman. So they cause the decomposition. Ibig sabihin, ito yung root cause class ng pagkapanis or pagkasira ng pagkain. Okay? Itong klase ng bacteria na to, this may not cause like severe diseases, but they can manifest uh, their presence when it comes to odor, okay? Yung texture, yung appearance, and even discolorations. So, ito yung bacteria na nakikita natin sa mga panis na pagkain. But ito kasi yung literal na panis na kasi throughout the smell, yung texture at makikita nyo yung pagbabago na ng kulay ng pagkain, merong undesirable bacteria dun sa food na yon. So again, sabi ko nga kanina, it will not yet cause any severe diseases. Kasi mabilis po siyang ma-check, mabilis natin ma-evaluate if panis na po ang pagkain. Okay? Through odors, texture, and color. Okay? And then meron din tayong tinatawag na disease-causing bacteria or pathogens. So these are the bacteria naman class that cause most of the foodborne illness or illnesses. So bacteria cause more than parang nasa 90% of all foodborne illnesses, pero 4% lang or 4% of identified bacteria are pathogenic. Okay? So, when we say pathogenic, the bacteria can cause sickness. So, dito na nag-uumpisa yung tao na kapag na-intake niya yung pagkain, is pwede na siyang um, magkasakit. Okay? Number one is pwedeng magkaroon ng diarrhea. Pwede rin magkaroon ng typhoid fever because may na-intake siyang pagkain, no? Especially, yung pagkain na yon is sira na. Okay? And another thing that we can consider is itong klase ng bacteria na to, no, pag na-transfer siya sa pagkain or mismong nandun na siya, literal sa food, we can consider that food as waste na talaga. Okay? So kaya kailangan maingat din talaga, even the chefs, culinarians, or us, even individuals. We can assess if literal na sira na, hindi lang siya basta panis eh. Hindi na talaga siya pwedeng i-intake. No? So we need to check that bago natin siya tikman. Okay? So pathogens do not necessarily leave detectable odors. No? So hindi natin pwedeng masabi na itong klase ng pagkain na 'to somehow isira na. May gano'n, eh, may gano'ng klase ng food. Hindi natin siya kayang i-assess 'no, most of the time kung okay pa ba or hindi. Unlike undesirable bacteria, parang mabilis natin makita through odor. Ito hindi, eh. Itong klase ng bacteria na 'to is, hindi basta-basta natin mache-check throughout the smell, kahit sa lasa or even sa texture niya or sa color. So gano'n katindi. That's why para bang uminom ka halimbawa sa sa coffee shop, no. Nag-order ka ng caramel macchiato. Parang okay naman yung timpla, 'di ba? Wala namang something wrong, walang bubbles, no, as is. Pero meron palang disease-causing bacteria yung natimplang caramel macchiato. Hindi natin siya napansin kasi nga itong klase ng bacteria na 'to is hindi mo ma-identify through smell, taste, or look. Kasi parang okay pa siya. 'Di ba? Ang hirap. Pero kapag nagkaroon na ng outcome, like nagtai ka na, sorry for that word, nilagnat ka na and whatsoever, so dun mo lang malalaman na parang may mali or something pala sa nakain ko. Okay? Or na i-prepare sa inyo. So the only way to protect food against pathogenic bacteria is by proper hygiene and sanitary food handling and storage techniques. So flies, roaches, rats, and mice can also spread pathogenic bacteria. So possible pala class, yung tinutukoy nating pang third na bacteria kanina, maaring during that time ng food preparation. So ano kasi, nagkakaroon ng mishandling sa pagpe-prepare. Kumbaga, substandard, no? Imbes na gumamit ng hand gloves para mag-sprinkle ng kung ano-anong pang-garnish o pang-topping sa food, kinamay na lang. Eh yung kamay na yan, galing saan? Kahit saan, 'di ba? Pwedeng nangati yung hair mo, skin mo, nose, inubo ka, and whatsoever. Nag-cover ka ng hands mo and then transfer mo siya sa pagkain. May tendency pala. And that's the pathogenic bacteria na pwede din siyang magmula. And aside from human, pwede rin siya dito sa mga nabanggit natin like flies, roaches, rats, mice. Okay? Madapuan lang ng langaw, magapangan ng ipis, kahit segundo lang yan, no? Ano pa? Magapangan ng daga, lalo na yung mga naka-open na ingredients, no? Na mga naka-sachet, hindi natakpan, na pagkain. So may tendency pag naamoy yan itong mga nabanggit natin, talagang madadaanan at madadaanan yan, no? So, yung mga bacteria na dala-dala nitong mga ano na to, itong flies, roaches, and etc., they will stand or walk on food technically. So they will transfer the bacteria from their bodies to the food. And anyone eating such kind of food class may contract the disease. So these pests carry their bodies. So kung ano yung dumi, bacteria na meron yun, yung mga pest na yun, na transfer sa food at kakainin mo yung food, automatically transmitted na sa'yo. So, medyo ano siya, medyo delikado. Lalo na kung yung mag-i-intake ng pagkain is medyo weak, no? Mahina ang immune system kasi sabi nga nila sa isang joke, okay lang yan, minsan kailangan natin ng bakterya sa katawan, no? Agree naman din ako dyan. Pero paano kung may mga taong hindi kaya ng kanilang immune system? Mabilis sumakit ang tiyan, konting ano lang. Mabilis sumakit ang ulo or nagkakalagnat. May konting portion lang nakain. Medyo sensitive sila pagdating sa pagkain. No? Paano yun? So, automatically, sasuffer sila sa foodborne illness. Okay? So, foodborne illness is a disease that is carried or transmitted to people by food, pathogenic bacteria, cause one of the two types of foodborne illness. Okay? So, meron tayong tinatawag na food infection. No? Under siya ng foodborne illness. Approximately 80% of all bacterial foodborne illnesses are due to food infections. So, ano ba yung mga food infections natin? Okay? So, kayo ba nakaranas na rin kayo sometimes that you eat something, kala nyo normal yung pagkain na yon, kala nyo okay pa, and then at the end of the day, nagka-diarrhea kayo. So, most of us naman, or sometimes sa inyo, naglalast ng 3 days to 1 week dahil may nakain. So, parang iba naman, no? Parang, sorry to say, talagang na food poison na talaga. And their life will end there. 'Di ba? May mga ganong part. So, ngayon, yung food infection natin, it comes from the two bacteria, no, na pwede nating makita, which is what we call Salmonella and Clostridium. Okay, mamaya nandito yung spelling ng Clostridium bacteria. These are the most common culprits, okay, ng food infection natin. So, ang Salmonella, yan, as you can see from the picture, yung may pink and green, no, na illustration. So that is a sample of Salmonella. So the food infection caused by Salmonella bacteria exhibits symptoms that are similar to those of staph poisoning. Through the disease may last longer. So most poultry carry this bacteria. So the source of Salmonella bacteria class is pwede natin po siyang makuha sa mga contaminated meat and poultry. Okay? So that's why I suggest, no, kayo, ilang beses na rin kayo sigurong nakapag-prepare sa kitchen and syempre sa school and sa bahay. Once we buy meat automatically from market, no, wet market man yan, or sa grocery store man kayo bumili, i-make sure natin na once we bought that kind of meat, i-freezer na natin or i-refrigerate as part of the ano niya, storing method or yung shelf life niya. Kasi may tendency na kapag tinanggal na natin sa lamig yung mga meats na yan, pwede mag-accumulate yung bacteria because of the temperature na babago kapag wala na siya sa freezer or refrigerator. Kaya nga, I suggest din sa mga students ko, kapag bibili ng meat, chicken, and whatsoever, I want them to buy sa supermarket or groceries rather sa palengke. Kasi sa palengke, di naman natin ginajudge ang businesses nila, no? Or kung may mga nagbe-business dito sa palengke, no? Hindi naman natin yan dinidiscourage. But what I mean is that yung proper storage kasi, no? So, sa mga restaurant and hotels, kailangan may proper temperature and time lahat ng meats, poultry na pwede nilang i-prepare for the guest. So, same thing din sa atin. Even at home, no? We can practice this one kasi dito po nag-uumpisa, okay, ang isa sa food infection, which is the Salmonella. If we will not store properly the meat. Ano pa minsan sa form of contamination ng meat? Yung mga marinades. Okay? Minarinate natin siya. Say for example, today, and then tomorrow pa natin siya iluluto. Pero naka-expose pa rin sa refrigerator yung meats natin. What I mean is that, di ba, you need to cover that. Pwedeng ilagay sa Tupperware or container, or pwede po tayong gumamit ng cling wrap para ma-cover, para hindi magsama-sama yung amoy ng nasa refrigerator natin. Okay? Kasi yung ref natin, maraming laman yan. Tama? Hindi lang naman more of meats. So, may tendency na kapag naka-open po yung container natin, pwede pong makontaminate po yung mga marinades natin. Okay? Di ba, mahilig tayo marinate ng pork chop, liempo, chicken, ayan, daing na bangus. So, you need to cover that or use cling wrap. Ayan. And also, symptoms natin na kapag ang isang tao is nakapag-intake ng pagkain, no, na merong presence ni Salmonella, So, magkukos yan ng vomiting, pagsusuka, headache, aching bones, and high fever. So, this is a serious infection class because did you know that every young children and the elderly can lead to death? Ganun kalala. So, Salmonella bacteria also do not produce toxins in food. Instead, the toxin in Salmonella class is released during the body's digestive process. So, ganun yung nagiging process niya once we intake. Okay? So, very ano dapat tayo, very maingat in food preparation, lalo na kayo as HM student, no? So, kung kakayanan natin mag double time sa pagsisecure ng mga ingredients and food, gawin natin. Kasi we don't know, no? Kung yung titikim or kakain nun, ano bang magiging, ano niya, magiging masarap, oo, 'di ba? Minsan may gano'n, eh, maganda sa paningin yung pagkain, oo. Pero the way it is being prepared, paano ba? Mamaya maganda nga sa paningin yung pagkaka-plating, masarap ang lasa, etc. Pero pagkatas pala intake after 30 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours, ayun, may salmonella para because of mishandling, poor handling of food preparation. Kasi naniniwala ako, hindi naman tayo makakapag-ano ng bacteria sa mga pagkain na pine-prepare kung tama yung pag-handle natin. Kung maingat din tayo, no? Kaya nga 'di ba, inaaral niyo din as HM students sa kitchen essentials ninyo last sem, no? Parang ginide din kayo on how you will secure, how you will take concern sa inyong mga ingredients at i-prepare, 'di ba? Serve hot foods hot, serve cold foods cold kasi may parang yung temperature niya nagma-matter din, 'di ba? Something like that. So how to prevent salmonella? So prevention is we need to control the measures, include cooking food adequately and observing rules of good hygiene and cleanliness. So talagang ano eh, talagang magpo-fall tayo sa good hygiene and cleanliness talaga class no matter what, no? So yung temperature, given na siya, back up na lang to, pero yung hygiene talaga and cleanliness, kailangan hindi siya mawala sa picture. So yung temperature naman ng meat, during cooking ano niya, time, kailangan natin ma-reach ang 158 to 167 degree Fahrenheit to kill salmonella. So may mga gamit tayo sa kitchen like checking if na-reach na natin yung heat, no? O yung kailangang init ng klase ng meat na to. So yun yung pwede nating maging tool or instrument para ma-check if tama po yung pagkakaluto, halimbawa ng meat, so that we can prevent salmonella. Okay? Again, 158 to 167 degree Fahrenheit to kill salmonella. So the safest way of checking is what we call the temperature probe na tinatawag. Yan. So itutusok lang yan sa meats habang niluluto. Kapag na-reach mo na yung 158 to 167 degree Fahrenheit, so okay yon. Patay na yung salmonella niyan. Kasi nga, sabi ko nga sa inyo, bacteria is everywhere. So kahit sa pagbili mo nyo yan sa palengke or somewhere, meron na yan. Ganun kabilis. So kailangan din talaga ma-secure natin yung food. And then meron din tayong tinatawag na Clostridium perfringens. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. So you can see from the picture, ito naman yung nasa kabilang side. So ano naman yan? Okay, this is also causes by food infection, another type of bacteria din ito. Na ang nagiging source po nito, it occurs in soil, sa dust naman, in water. So they are carried from from the intestines of animals and also people. Okay, so maaaring manggaling siya sa pest or pwedeng sa tao, pwede rin sa alikabok, lupa, or pwede rin sa tubig. So the bacteria grow rapidly when there is no oxygen present in the center of a rolled meat or in cooked meat held at room temperature before being served or left to cool before being stored. Okay? So ang number one pa din dito class no na prone with this kind of bacteria is the meat and poultry pa din talaga. Okay, nangyayari siya kapag unrefrigerated ang ating meats or naririhit ng paulit-ulit. So, hindi rin pala siya okay. Okay? So, siguro naman advisable yung niluto na natin siya today, i-reheat tomorrow. Yung sabi nilang, anong ulam nyo, pangatlong init, no? Hindi rin pala siya advisable kasi pwede po tayo makakuha ng Clostridium perfringens. Ayan. Kasi maaaring nabuksan na yung ulam, ilalagay mo sa fridge, ilalabas mo ulit, pwedeng naalikhabukan siya somehow, though na-cover, di ba, yung kutsara or serving spoon, nagpababalik-balik din in a way. So, ilang, ilang, ilang tao din ba ang nagtitake ng food na yon. So, may tendency talaga, ang laki-laki ng chance na pwedeng magkaroon ng ng ganitong klase ng bacteria sa meats. And symptoms naman niya class are usually days ang itinatagal nito. So yung abdominal pain, diarrhea, so mas malala siya sa salmonella class. Kasi 'di ba usually ang diarrhea naglalast 2 to 3 days sometimes. Abdominal pain, ano pa ba? Meron pang pagkahilo and also cramps ng stomach. It will last for ilang days. So, may tendency, meron sa nakakain natin na tinatawag na Clostridium perfringens. Kaya, make ingat din class ha, yung mga pabili-bili nyo sa kanto ng mga fishball, calamares, kikiam, no, kwek-kwek, no? So, yung mga yan, expose yan sa kalsada. So, sabi ko nga kanina, ang kanitong klase ng bacteria ay nakukuha sa dust. Isa is dust or soil. 'Di ba? Naka-expose, ang daming sasakyan, etc. Ang daming taong bumibili, naka-face mask ba ng mga nagtitinda or even yung bumibili naka-face mask ba? 'Di ba? Kasi pati mga laway, no, nagtalsikan na. So, ganun dapat tayo kaingat talaga. Kasi, pag tayo yung naapektuhan, hindi naman yung binilan mo ang magpapagamot sa'yo, di ba? In reality, ikaw din. So, kailangan maging maingat. Even you are taga-prepare ng food or taga-bili ka ng food, kailangan mo mag-assess ng mga pagkain na ini-intake natin. Okay? And ano pa, mostly yung mga canteen or cafeterias, no? Na may mga pests. What I mean is, they call that one, dogs and cats. Sometimes, di ba, umaakyat pa sila doon sa umaakyat pa sila doon sa mismong counter kung saan naka-display ang pagkain. But, we are not, naman ha, tinatanggalan natin, lalo na yung mga pet lover dito na meron sa bahay. Pero, what I mean is that yung mga balahibo, may tendency din kasi sabi nga dito, it came from animals din, na pwedeng mag-transfer yan sa pagkain anytime. Balahibo ng pusa, ng aso, no? So, pwedeng matransmit from time to time. Okay? So, make ingat na lang siguro. So, another thing that we need to consider is food poisoning. So, the 10 main reasons for food poisoning are the following. So, meron tayong A and B factors leading to bacterial growth, which is improper cooling, improper hot holding, long delay between preparation and serving, and use leftovers. Ayan. So, yung improper cooling natin, di ba, I mentioned last time sa discussion natin na we need to store every ingredient. Kung refrigerator ba, or freezer siya, or dry storage siya. So, improper hot holding is in connection din po yan, the way you will prepare food. Parang hindi nyo dapat overcook din ng pagkain, hindi rin naman siya dapat totaling hilaw. So, ito yung sinasabing natin, hot holding. Baka naman sumobra naman na rin sa init yung niluluto mo, na overcook na, nasunog na, etc. No? And then the temperature of the kitchen pa is sobrang init din ng facility. So, ano na nangyari sa pagkain natin? So, pwede na magkaroon yan ng bacteria na pwede mag-lead sa mas higher scale, which is the food poisoning. Long delay between preparation and serving. Okay? So, prepare mo halimbawa ng 6 a.m. Excuse me. And then, Isa-serve natin siya by 8 a.m., no? Wala nang init, wala na ring lamig. Ano ng texture, color, at condition ng food. So, maaaring nag-multiply na, nag-grow na ang bacteria during that time kasi naka-expose siya. Okay? And then, yung paggamit din natin ng use leftover. Still remember, may discussion ako sa inyo about lettuce, no? Kapag gagamitin natin siya sa restaurant for one plate of salad, yung one head, may matitira doon, no? Doon sa one head ng lettuce. So, anong mangyayari doon? We can consider that leftover. So, hindi siya basta-basta pwedeng gamitin kasi na-expose mo na siya coming from the refrigerator, nagamit mo na siya. So, iba na naman yung temperature niyan. Nakakailanganin from the time na na-slice mo, na-chop mo, and then babalik mo sa ref. So, medyo delikado din pala siya. So, if you will cut ingredients, might as well, gamitin na lahat. Kung hindi mo siya magagamit, all throughout, huwag kang bumili ng sobra. Yung tama lang sa gagamitin mo for that day. Okay? So, factors leading to food contamination as well are contaminated raw ingredients, cross-contamination, inadequate cleaning of inadequate cleaning of equipment, and infected food handlers. So, yung mga not feeling well, no, during that time, infected food handlers natin, nilalagnat, may sugat sa kamay, hindi pwede makapag-slice, even lagyan ng band-aid or bandage yan. Ano pa, may diarrhea and whatsoever, so they are not allowed to stay inside the kitchen and have the food preparation. Kasi may tendency that that human is meron ng bacteria. Siya na mismo. So baka matransmit niya sa pagkain and it will lead to food poisoning. Okay? So yung kanina may nabanggit akong stop. Balikan natin dito. Ayan, dito sa definition ng salmonella, yung word na stop, S-T-A-P-H, baka hindi kayo familiar. Pag sinabi mong stop poisoning, ito po yung tinatawag na staphylococcal food poisoning or stop na tinatawag. Spelling ng staphylococcal, Staphylococcal. Again, staphylococcal, Staphylococcal. Okay? So, staphylococcal food poisoning is caused by toxins produced in food by the bacterium staphylococcal poisoning that includes pathogens that infect sores, cuts, rashes, and boils. So, present din daw to class in mouth or sa ating nasal passages. So, they are contaminated by food, by direct contact, or through sneezing and coughing. So, under favorable condition, they multiply quickly. So, as they multiply class, as they die, they leave behind a toxin that is highly heat resistant. Okay? Usually, ang source ng ganitong klase ng food poisoning, itong staphylococcal is usually from food workers naman siya. Okay? From human. Okay? So, yung mga usually food that is usually involved sa staphylococcal food poisoning, yung paggawa ng custards, paggawa class ng desserts that is made from dairy products, potato salad, protein salads, ham, and other high-protein foods. Okay? And ang symptoms ng staphylococcal food poisoning, symptoms are food contaminated with Staphylococcus toxin. Okay? Na nagkukos din ng diarrhea. Okay? And abdominal cramps within 1 to 7 hours. So, paano ipe-prevent ang staphylococcal food poisoning? Ganun pa din, observe good hygiene and sanitary work habits. So, do not handle food class if you have an illness or infection. So always clean and sanitize all equipment. That's number one rule. So keep foods below 40 degree Fahrenheit or above 140 degree Fahrenheit naman for this kind of poisoning. So do not allow animals in the food establishment, especially cats and dogs, as I mentioned a while ago, because they carry staph bacteria. So staphylococcal bacteria are killed under proper cooking conditions, but the toxins they produce may be highly heat resistant. Okay, so I guess this will be the end of our presentation today. So I hope and pray that you learn something from today's session. If meron kayong gustong i-clarify, ito yung kagandahan ng recorded lesson natin, class. Pwede nyo siyang balik-balikan kahit ilang beses pa to play the video lesson para mas magets ninyo. Okay? So that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time and effort. Don't forget to send your selfie or screenshot watching this video until 7 p.m. tonight with the caption midterm lesson 1 present. Okay? Thank you and God bless everyone. Goodbye.